Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas noches. Bienvenidos a Latinos en Arquitectura. Welcome to AIA Houston, Latinos in Architecture. We're excited to kick off our first event with our subcommittee, collegiate and scholarship program. So we have several of our mentors online. So glad that you can join us this evening. I don't know if you've heard of us. We're a fairly new committee within AIA Houston. We started a year ago. And the reason a group of us, of actually 4 people, came together and saw a need for a Latinos in Architecture group because we didn't see much of an association where young folks could come together and see folks with the same, where they feel like they have someone of their same, they look like you and have had the same situation that you've gone through in life. And so we started off going by Houston Hispanic Forum Career Day and saw the twinkle in the eyes of students when we would talk to them about architecture and also speak to their parents, where the parents can actually speak to those in the same language. And you can see that they wanted something better for their children. And so that's how a group of us came together and started this new organization or committee within AIA Houston. And so you can find out more about us. We actually had an event in July, this called Amplifying Voices. So the 4 founding members of Latinos in Architecture came together. We had a moderator ask us all these different questions and pretty much what I was telling you, why we came together and how we started and what our goal is. And our purpose is we want to plant a seed in every Latino person and guide them through a journey that either through architecture, construction, interiors, or arts. I know that some of us, we were alone in this process, and some of us did have folks that guided us. And we just want to go through our lessons that we went through in life and guide the young students that are headed in this direction, either in, like I said, architecture, interiors, or anything else, just setting goals and helping you guide you through those goals and what they would be. So in a moment, I'm about to introduce our co-chair. But before we do that, I do want you to know that we are going to have a Q&A session at the end. So at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A section where you can type in your questions as we're speaking. And if you have questions, you can type them in there. So let me go ahead and introduce our co-chair for the Collegiate Mentorship and Scholarship Program Subcommittee, which within Latinos in Architecture, we have about 4 subcommittees, and so this is one of the subcommittees. And so Nicole Barrios was born and raised in Houston, Texas. She grew up interested in interior design, but pursued a career path in architecture. She received a Bachelor's of Science in Architecture from University of Texas at San Antonio and a Master's from the University of Houston. After college, she was recruited to Kendall Heaton, where she worked on the first LEED SC Platinum Certified skyscraper in Texas, BG Group Place in downtown Houston. Following her work at Kendall Heaton, Nicole went on to work at Ziegler Cooper, where she touched on many project types in core and shell, workshop studios. Her favorite work has been interior renovations, preservation of existing buildings, and bringing them to new life. Nicole is now a licensed architect in Texas, practicing at Gensler Houston as a design manager, construction administrator, and team member for the higher education studio. Her leadership roles at Gensler include a recent promotion to associate, the regional diversity and inclusion liaison for Gensler's South Central region, as well as her community work at AIA Houston, Houston NOMA, and AIA newest JEDI committee. Nicole, welcome, and it's all yours.
Thank you, Linda. Let me start my video. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Real quick, we're going to run through an agenda. Thank you, Linda, for having that introduction or giving us that introduction. I'm going to introduce the mentorship program, and Luis is going to do a quick icebreaker, and then we will have an introduction to all of our mentors for the fall semester, as well as give you some insight to our September 23rd event, which we hope you are a part of. And following those agenda items, we'll have some time for a Q&A at the end of this call. So before I get into the explanation of the mentorship program that Leah is offering this fall, I want to give you a little background to how this subcommittee formed and to ask a question that you have probably heard, but I want you to think about. What is your why? Why are you on this call today? And why are you deciding to pursue a pathway to a possible career in the architecture field? In August of 2019, I attended the first committee meeting for the newly formed AIA, LEA, Latinos in Architecture. Previous to my attendance, I shied away from joining AIA for a number of reasons. I wasn't sure what committee I felt passionate about, what did I have to offer as an unlicensed architect, and could I fully commit myself as an active member and participant? You see, I'm not one to do something without the passion behind it, as most Latinos. So here's my why. After joining LEA last year, we brainstormed different issues that the Latino population has run into in the field of architecture. So prior to this committee forming through AIA Houston, I became a member of the National Organization of Minority Architects because I was searching for architects that looked like me. This gave me an opportunity to attend a conference all the way in Brooklyn, New York, where I came across a group of University of Houston students. They happened to place second in the student competition, and after approaching them and congratulating them, they seemed low-spirited. Then they went on to tell me that the judges' comments after their presentation were, "It seemed as though you showed up to the track meet without a coach." This has stuck with me ever since. There I was sitting with the minority students from my alumni, hearing that they had a lack of mentorship and guidance. This is the testimony that I brought to the LEA members. That day, I made a promise to those students that my call to action was to promote mentorship to minorities in our industry. So we formed the LEA Mentorship and Scholarship Subcommittee, which I'm proud to be the chair for. I'm indebted to our team of mentors and committee members, whom you will get to know more about later on this call. I'm indebted to Linda Camacho, our committee chair, for coaching me in a process that I had never done before. I believe this will be a successful subcommittee of LEA, the same way I believe you join today's call will lead to success in your collegiate and future career path in what we hope will be architecture. During the planning stages for this fall's partnership with HCC, we met with HCC's Dean for the College of Excellence, Chris Casper, as well as faculty and staff whose names you are familiar with. Sergi Pirog, the program coordinator and professor for drafting and design engineering technology, and Aurelio Aguilar, who is also a program coordinator and professor. We understand that the program offerings at HCC are in line with the overall AEC industry and could lead your education to a four-year university to pursue either architecture or related fields. Now, this is not to discount the, sorry, I lost my place.
Okay.
This is not to discount the field of architecture as an exclusion to the AEC industry. AEC stands for Architecture, Engineering, and Construction. Many of the LEA members, in addition to architects, are engineers, contractors, and community partners. But with those differences, we realized our field was lacking representation of minorities, as apparent with the newly founded LEA committee. Although we live in a city with 40% Hispanic population, Latinos are underwhelmingly represented in our field, and the data proves that even at a nationwide level, the retention for Latino professionals in our industry greatly depreciates the further you get into the profession or the more senior roles you have. So the question is, why? Why are the numbers so low? Why is the profession still predominantly white Caucasian, and how does this affect the community? This is a topic that we need a whole nother webinar for, but for today's agenda, we want to highlight the fact that minorities and Latino minorities specifically are lacking in our profession, and it is our duty to create a pipeline to introduce you to our network and our professionals. So I've covered why we're doing this, and now the question is, what are our goals? As mentioned, our network of professionals in LEA are eager to help you. They want to see you succeed. They want to help guide you in questions you may have, and they're willing to be that link you may be missing in your life. As with many of us, we did not have parents with white-collar professions. Many of us come from working-class families, and many of us felt left behind in pursuing higher education. Many of us have taken non-traditional routes to become architects, and many of us lacked mentors in our professional growth. We have stories, some of you may find familiar, and our goal is to align your stories with ours so that you have a champion and, more importantly, a mentor that you can continue to stay connected to throughout your professional career. So here's the commitment we're asking of you. Join us as a mentee, and we will commit monthly meetups with you, a minimum of 1 hour, to help guide you on questions you may have or general access to one of the professionals that can be reached virtually at any time. After today, we hope you have decided to become a mentee. You will be sent a link to the professional biographies of each of our mentors you may choose from. September 23rd, 2 weeks from now, we will be hosting a kickoff event for fall mentorship in which we will discuss various topics of conversation that typically are discussed in our profession. It is okay if you feel shy, if you're not one to speak up during group conversations. We have been there too. We know what it's like to feel intimidated or overwhelmed, but just know that showing up is 90% of the work. We urge you to join us for your own benefit. So what will the commitment for this semester look like? After today's Q&A, we will have a virtual mixer, as mentioned earlier, on September 23rd. You will be required to meet with your mentor at least once a month, including midterms. As you can see, the total commitment time is less than 5.5 hours. This is the minimum amount of time we're asking you to commit. Please note that many of our mentors are open to additional time if you request. As mentioned earlier, AIA Houston's Jennifer Ward will be sending out a link to our mentors' bios as well as questionnaire for you to fill out. The purpose is to gauge your interest in various topics as well as general survey for our own knowledge as mentors. We're looking forward to customizing your guidance for you as we pair you with mentors for this semester. And now I will hand it over to a very dear friend of mine and colleague, also recipient of this year's distinguished AIA Ben Brewer Award, Luis Ayala.
Hey, thank you, Nicole. So I have a question for you guys, and I want you to write on the chat box or the Q&A portion of our chat. Name what is the best space you have experienced in Houston. And by that, I mean the one that had moved you, or the one that you like the most, or you try to go back several times. When there was a story I was telling Nicole and the team before, when I did my study abroad in Italy, our teacher asked us after doing the tour, what is the building that you like the best? And I said the Pantheon in Rome. And he asked me why, and I was like, I don't know, I just liked it. And he started digging a little bit more into why I like it. And then I said, well, when I was there, the space was so big. I felt minuscule, but I felt also secure. And he was like, that's the reason. You feel an emotion, and that's what architects do. We design space to convey emotions in users. So that's what we want to think of a space like that in Houston that moved you, and then we'll discuss about that later. Back to you, Nicole.
Thank you. Okay, now I will ask all of our mentors to turn their cameras on so that we can begin our introductions. I will call on you, or there will be a list. here in front of you of the order of introduction. If you guys can get started, Luis Ayala.
Yeah, well, I'm Luis Ayala. I'm a
Luis,
registered
the camera's
architect.
not on.
Is it
We
not?
want to see you. No.
It's on. Okay.
On, but it's a blank screen.
It's on, but it's covered, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to start presenting, Nicole. My camera is on.
Okay, go ahead, Luis.
Okay. So I'm Luis Ayala. I'm a registered architect in Paraguay and in Houston or Texas. I moved to Houston in 2007. I'm a designer. I work for Stantec or SSW Group before. I moved to Perkins and Will, then to Gensler. And last year I opened my own design firm. And the reason I want to help in this committee, being a mentor to you guys, is because when I moved to Houston, I was completely lost. I didn't know I didn't know anyone. And a couple of people's friends of mine in my firm started giving me a hand and giving me guidance and helped me to get registered and to know people and to create my connection. So because I'm so indebted to those guys, I want to return the favor and help you guys in anything I can. So that's my
Luis,
portion.
before you go off, tell us who's in your background.
Oh, this is a house I photographed for my friend Joseto Cubilla in Paraguay. It's a house that is completely embedded in the jungle, and when we were photographing, we had some monkeys visiting us. It's a beautiful space. So that's it.
That's cool. Well, thank you, Luis.
You're welcome.
I'm Linda Camacho. I'm born and raised here in Houston, first generation. My parents are from Monterrey, Mexico, Monterrey. I actually went to school here. I did all of my primary, middle school, high school here, and then I went to Universidad Monterrey in Mexico, and I lived there for 6 years. I loved it, did not want to come back, but I came for the same reason everyone comes, because of the pay. And once I came back, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to work in architecture. I didn't know that if I was going to be given that opportunity, somewhat similar to what Luis went through, even though I was born and raised here. But I was thankful that the place that I went to at that point was Stovall, Daniels, and Tracy. They are pretty much everything I know is from them. They were 30, 40-year architecture experience. And so they motivated me to learn all these different techniques that we don't learn in the, I guess, outside of the United States. Things are built a little bit differently. So I've been in architecture field here at Kirksey now for 16 years this September. Overall, I've been doing this for 22 years. And the reason, well, I just told you why we started this and why we want to help out, but my goal is to, everything I've learned in my process in architecture, I would like to teach it to you. So the things that I went through, hopefully you don't have to go through them. So thank you. Nick, you're next.
Hey guys, so my name is Nick Gutierrez. I was born and raised in Ocampo, Texas, in Wharton County. Went to WCJC. I went to Texas A&M for my 4-year degree in architecture, and I also got my master's degree at University of Houston, where I graduated in 2015. So I've been working professionally for 5 years or so, and I'm currently a registered architect at Page doing commercial and healthcare architecture. And one of the reasons I really wanted to be a mentor and reach out to anyone who's going through the process of being in the field of architecture or construction was that never really had a person to ask questions to. And I would love to give some advice, could really relate to some of y'all hopefully, and answer any questions y'all might have about going through school and which profession, whether it's architecture, construction, interior design. There's so many options out there that I'd love to have more conversations with y'all.
So Nick, who did you select? And I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
to do it myself.
So I selected Felix Candela. He's a Mexican architect. He was born in Spain, but the picture of the building behind me is the Los Manantiales restaurant in Xochimilco, Mexico City. It's on the canals in Xochimilco. I got to visit that building, and it was built in the 50s, thin shell concrete structure, really, really cool. If you're ever in Mexico City, I recommend checking it out. You can't miss it if you visit the canals. And so really, really amazing work. If I recommend looking into his projects because it's really, really inspiring.
Cool. Well, the building I selected, I have not been, so hopefully I'll make it a point to go when I go to Mexico City. The architect that did this is the group Sordo Magdaleno. Luis, tell me if I did not pronounce that correctly. And this is
That's fine.
fine, good, thank you. This is Ito Clinic, and it's in Querétaro, Mexico. So if you take note of this, it's great that you can go and look up all these different Latino architects as our mentors tell you who they selected.
I guess I'm next. Hi, everyone. My name is Camila Castro. I was born in Bogota, Colombia, but I grew up in Houston. I stayed here for school. I went to the University of Houston, where I got my bachelor in architecture and a minor in construction management. I am working at Kirksey Architecture alongside Linda. I'm actually on the design team there, so I'm able to work on a couple different types of projects. I'm super excited to be here as a mentor. I'm very new to the field. I've only been working for around 2 years. I graduated in 2018, but I'm very excited to be able to talk to you guys about what it's been like to start my career and testing, because I'm in the thick of it as well, and what it's like, I guess, the struggle that we have always had of being maybe the only minority in the room or being the only woman in a room and trying to find your voice through all of that. And so I'm very excited to be able to talk to you guys about how to kind of navigate those waters. I kind of chose that image is a really cool aerial shot of Casa Bruma by Fernanda Canales and Claudia Rodriguez. It's very close to Mexico City, and if you guys are able to look this up and look at interior images, it's pretty cool. So I'm trying to move out of the way. Hope to be able to talk to you guys soon.
Rick?
You're on mute, Rick.
How to be the first one. Okay. Rick de la Cruz. I'm a project coordinator at Kirksey Architecture. I've been practicing for 10 years now. Had a really long and winding road to get to this point. First, I earned a degree in political science, and I taught history for 4 years at middle school level. Moved to San Antonio, earned a master's degree in sociology, and was a researcher for 2 years there. And in between all that, while I was in San Antonio, really fell in love with the city, fell in love with architecture, and on a whim decided to register for UTSA's MArch3 program, which is a career change program they had there, and graduated in 2010, and here I am now. All that to say, guys, is that mentorship is really important. If I had a mentor, that story would have been half as long, and I probably would have been a bit more focused and been farther along in my career than I am now. But just understand that everyone needs some advice, everyone needs guidance, and everyone needs focus. And I'm just happy to lend a helping hand through this program. And behind me is the Vasconcelos Library in Mexico City, my favorite city in the world, and it's by the architect Alberto Kalash. So there you go.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Vette Herrera, and I was born and raised in Guatemala, and I am half Colombian. I began my life in the United States when I moved to Miami to get my degree in interior design, my undergrad. My sister is also an interior designer, and I think whole architecture design lives in my family quite a bit. I thought I was going to be a psychologist. I thought I was going to do many other things, and then eventually I realized it was interior design and architecture. After I graduated from my undergrad, I worked a few years with an architect, a great mentor of mine in Miami in a high-end residential firm. And then I came to Houston to pursue my master's in architecture, a 3.5-year degree. Also, after that, I worked in another small firm, also residential, and eventually I moved to the side of corporate architecture. So I have about 15 years of experience, half in residential and half in commercial architecture. I currently work for Page, where I am part of the design team as well. I'm working on getting my license, so I know the struggles of that path as well. And I just wanted to share that one of my hobbies is dancing, all of the dances, especially the Latin ones. And I've also been dancing flamenco since I was very, very little. And the person that I chose in my background is Tatiana Bilbao. This is her holiday home located in Monterrey, Mexico. And just wanted to share why I wanted to be a mentor. It's because I have had fantastic mentors, both in the work field as the architects I have worked under, and also fantastic professors. So all of that has made a huge difference for me, and I want to be able to do a little bit of my part with all of you.
Thank you. John?
Oh, hello. My name is John De Leon. I was born in New York. My parents are from Ecuador and El Salvador. My background involves earning a Bachelor of Science degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Houston, after which I worked at NASA for 15 years designing flight hardware for the space station and space shuttle. In 2014, I made a career change and therefore earned an associate's degree in interior design from Houston Community College. After graduation, I started an interior design firm, but later realized my passion in life is teaching Revit to students and professionals. Therefore, I started a BIM tutoring company related to architecture and interior design. I believe in this mentorship program because when I first started using Revit, I was completely lost with no one to answer any of my questions. I'm now able to answer your Revit questions when needed. And behind me, my picture is the architect is Diego Guayasamín, who is an Ecuadorian architect. There's a building called UNASUR, which is a United Nations headquarters based in Quito, Ecuador. If I turn my head, you can see how it's really cantilevered off of the building, which I found that was very interesting. I visited that building 2 years ago.
Yeah. Cool.
We're going to skip me. Thank you, John. Yvette Ramos?
Sure. I'm Yvette Ramos. I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, and then moved to McAllen, Texas, and then went to Texas A&M to pursue my Bachelor's of Science in Architecture, and then finally moved to Houston in 2012. I'm currently a residential architectural designer with Newmark Homes. And in the past, I've worked with the design firm and Debner and Company, and I even taught architectural design with Fort Bend ISD for 3 years. I want to be part of this mentorship program just because, kind of like what everybody else was saying, I really wish I had someone to kind of ask questions about, you know, just architecture design in general, and just kind of have someone who has been through the process there to kind of guide me. And so hopefully I can be of assistance and of guidance to you all. Behind me, my picture is La Tallera, which is an art space building in Morelos, Mexico, from the architect Frida Escobedo. Cool.
So Nicole, before we present our special guest, we do want to hear, who do you have on your background?
Well, as Linda mentioned earlier, I've always been interested in interiors, and being a Taurus, I'm very all about hygge, feeling at home, being very warm. So Luis Barragan obviously is one of the famous Mexican architects, and this is his living room in Mexico City.
We cannot see you. Are you? So we can see your back.
It says I'm sharing.
Oh, so you have the same situation as Luis Ayala. We'll eventually see it.
I don't know if you can
there we go. Cool.
Sorry about that.
It does look homey.
The Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch, yeah. Next, your turn.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nix Valeri. I was born in Puebla, Mexico, and I moved to Corpus Christi, where I graduated from Denmark Community College in 2013. I took 4 years to work full-time at L&B Inc. in the architecture department, but I eventually transferred to the University of Houston in 2017. So I am now the 4th year in the 5-year Bachelor of Architecture program, and I've also had internships while attending U of H. most recently with Parkinson Wheel. I am so glad about this mentorship program. There were few moments during my early college while I wish I had a mentor, and most recently having those mentors around me have made a great help during my journey. So it does make a difference, and I hope you guys can stick with us.
Thank you, Nix. Okay. So really quick, I just want to talk about our September 23rd event. We're pretty much over time, so I don't want to take too much more of your time, but so we hope that you join on September 23rd. We are going to have a virtual mixer with the same mentors that we just introduced you to. We'll have conversations, topics of conversations that are typically discussed that we talk about. Conversations about master's degrees versus bachelor's degrees, summer internships, prepping for the AREs, lead exam, is it worth it, is it not, who knows, portfolio, portfolio building, and various roles in our profession. So do you want to go ahead and see if there's any questions, or if anyone has any questions that were typed in the Q&A box?
Right now we don't have any questions, but students that are on, please feel free to add your questions to the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and I'll ask them to our attendees.
And they can remain anonymous. So I know some people don't like showing their names. Or do we have any professors, if the professors have questions?
We did have one person answer our Zoom bomb question, and that was her favorite building is the Manil. So I feel like we could probably all agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had one building make me cry when I walked in, and that's La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona.
Wow. Oh, wow.
When you walk in, that was like the only one that made me tear. Actually, yeah. So hopefully you get to experience something like that.
But in the Menil, the new Drawing Institute, I think is so well designed, because for Houston, having that courtyard, outside courtyard to enjoy the weather. I mean, it's not Alaska. It's always hot here, so we can enjoy it being outside, and the way that the galleries grab the courtyard and then you go inside. That, for me, that is fabulous. That is my favorite building in Houston.
It's beautiful.
So it looks like Stanel, I don't understand the question, but it said, can you with assignment? So maybe they can retype that. Giovanni asked, is the event taking place on the 23rd going to be virtual? Does everyone on the panel have LinkedIn?
I do.
Yes, so I'll take that question. The September 23rd event will be virtual. We will be sending a flyer out to HTC faculty and staff the same way that you received access to this event for the sign up link. We'll be creating that flyer here pretty soon, and we'll be sending it out to you guys. We're also going to follow up to this call with with some directions for the September 23rd event, as well as an entire outline of our biographies for you to look at with our pictures attached, and a questionnaire that we're asking for you guys to send back by September 11th, which is next Friday. That will help us gauge interest in this mentorship program for the fall. And one thing that we did not touch on yet, which we are actually really looking forward to, is the scholarship opportunity. Linda, do you want to talk a little bit?
Yes, so that's something, I know Nicole went through the various steps that you'll be going through in this process with your mentor. I know we'll be meeting and discussing as a team, and eventually at the end of the year, hopefully during Christmas, and hopefully we can do that in person and not virtually, but seems how things are going this year, it might be virtual, but we would like to award various recipients. So it is important that you sign up for this, and you meet with your mentors the allotted time that Nicole listed. But at the same time, you're getting a lot of input or information from your mentors to guide you through this process. That part is priceless. But then you also will get your recipient, the scholarship, to help you with your schooling system and continue on as well. But more information on that is to come.
Yeah, we're actually working out those details with HCC next week. So more information to come. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Does everyone on the panel have LinkedIn? I would say the majority of us do. I'm going to say yes for myself. Everyone seems to be nodding their head yes. Even if you want to access us via LinkedIn, that's great. You can do that. But as I said earlier, we will be sending out bios. So that will give you a little more insight onto us personally, on a professional level and personal level.
Nicole, there is a question that's asked when are we going to choose the mentors? And can you explain that again?
Yes, so we'll be following up with this call with an email about choosing mentors. We're asking that you give us your #1 choice by next Friday, September 11th. At that point, we will internally meet up with our committee and assign the mentees with mentors. If you can give us your first and second choice, and don't worry if you can't catch all this information now, we're going to be sending an email explaining all this, but we'll ask for your first and second choice so that everyone is kind of paired evenly and not one mentor is overloaded with too many mentees. And that will take place over the next 2 weeks. The virtual mixer will be the announcement of mentor-mentee matchups, and the virtual mixer will also allow us to just have more of an open, fluid conversation, open dialogue that is not so formal, just to get to know you a bit more. The questionnaire will also allow us to get to know you a bit more. All right. Is that it with the questions?
Other questions? Okay, so everyone, you can go to our website and learn a little bit more about Leah, and also at the beginning in the chat, Jennifer, you mentioned you posted the link to the recorded Amplifying Voices, so you can hear and learn more about Latinos in architecture and how we were founded. Please take an opportunity of this gift that we're providing you. I know that you hear a lot of things from adults, and sometimes you feel like, I know what I'm doing. But because we've gone through this and wish that we had mentors, that's why we're here, hoping that you take this on. It's a great opportunity, and it's one of the best things you can do for yourself. So, and also spread the word. More people can sign up for it September 23rd, and we'll bring on more mentors. I know right now you see this group, but we have a lot more people that we can pull from. And once they hear from you and learn about what we're doing, it's worth it. So thank you for your time and calling into this virtual meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Hope to meet you soon.
Likewise. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.